Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day and that you've had a good week. I just wanted to give you a little, like a quick little help video for some of the things that you're going to be working through today, just in case if you've been having any issues with like a calculator or using Desmos. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So for today, you're going to be basically matching some graphs to equations and then identifying some things about each of them. So things like the y-intercept, things like growth or decay, what type of graph or function it is. And then there are some extension questions about like transformations and things like that. So all of the documents are in the Google Classroom. So I'm just going to really quickly talk through either how to use Desmos or how to use your graphing calculator to help you graph some of this. So if let's say if I want to start with my graphing calculator, so obviously turn it on. And then if let's say I want to graph an exponential function, I'm going to go to y equals, and let's say I want to graph letter A. To do that, I'm going to need to type in the 3 as my base. The exponent key is this arrow key right here. And then depending on your version of calculator, you may need to use parentheses. So this calculator, the one that's on my screen, doesn't require it, but I'm just going to do it just for the sake. If you have one that shows the arrow key in your list, then you for sure need to have parentheses. So I'm going to put parentheses around the, that should say x plus 2. And then I need to arrow out, and then I'm going to put the minus 3 on the outside. And then in order to graph, obviously we know you can click graph, and it will show you what that looks like. Remember, the table feature is also something that's helpful. So if I go to second graph, it will bring me to the table. And you can kind of see it here already. Second graph, there we go. And then if I'm looking for things like the y-intercept, you can obviously find those things by hand, but otherwise I would look at the table and find where I see a 0 in the x column. So I would have potentially for this one a y-intercept at 0,6. If let's say there's something wrong with your picture, I would say go to zoom number 6, and it will put it back into a normal window. So if your window looks good, then you should be fine. If let's say you don't have a graphing calculator, the other resource that I would probably go or use would be desmos.com. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. The other thing I wanted to show you is more so along the lines for logarithms. So for example, letter I in your list of equations has log base 3. Remember that if I click this logarithm key, that actually means base 10. So what you're going to need to do is go to math, and not every calculator has it. So we're going to check and see if this one does. And then you're going to scroll to letter A, which in my case says log base. So I'm going to click enter. And for my calculator, it pops up so that I can type in a different base. So I would maybe type in the base of 3. I need to have the 2 in the front. So I'm going to insert that. So let's do second insert, type in the 2. And then inside of the parentheses, I have an X. There we go. And then you can click graph. And then you can go to the table as well. And if you're looking for different components that should be in the table, remember we talked about for logarithms that this is normal for there to be errors because there's certain places on the graph that are restricted for that function. So this is kind of the heads up for your graphing calculator. The other option, as I mentioned, was using Desmos. So you would just go to desmos.com, click Start Graphing. And it's pretty simple if you just start typing. So if I want to do the exponential one that I had, I would do 3, and then you would hit the Shift 6 key, which is going to make it into an exponent. And again, I would advise using parentheses, and then you may need to arrow out, and then it will graph it for you, and you can manipulate this and move this around and find the information that you need. The only other thing I wanted to show you is for the logarithms, you need to see if I can, in my way, log. You need the here we go. Sorry, that was just in my way. So I need the keyboard key, and then I'm going to find functions, and then go to miscellaneous, and then the one that you want to type in is this one right here. So log base A, and then again, that will allow you to type in the base of 3. We need an X there, and then this is, remember, letter I, and so then it will graph it, and you can look for whatever components that you need. I would say the best route to do your matching would be to maybe do some sketching out on some paper, and then when you're ready, go to the Google Forms so that it's just an easy fill in, and then you can, that way then you can kind of like access the graphs and you don't have to kind of go back and forth between screens. So I hope this helped. Please reach out to either myself or Mrs. Ortman if you have questions, and I hope you have a good day.